and welcome to the show. Today, I want to talk about how you can make a living doing something that you love. This topic came up with a client recently when we were building out her entire life's purpose, and she realized that she had a limiting belief surrounding how hard she had to work to be not only successful, but that she could also only be successful if she worked a 9 to 5, 9 to 6, kind of a corporate job. And that is because from a very young age, she was taught that the only way she would make it or be successful is if she was an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, a receptionist, or something that essentially was a job in the city where she grew up that her parents identified with as a lucrative profession. And she unknowingly has spent the majority of her life following that fake belief system. And when I say fake belief system, it's not her truth. It's not a belief that she actually believes when we got to the core of it, but it's also false or fake in the context that there are so many ways you can build a lucrative business without having to work for somebody else. Today, I'm going to give you a few different ways that you can build a lucrative business, whether you are working for somebody else or you are not. So the first thing is, in order for you to do something that you love, you have to clear that with your nervous system. I speak a lot about nervous system regulation because almost every single thing we choose to do on a day-to-day comes back to the safety of our nervous system. So if you want to do something that you love every day, you have to feel safe in your body doing that thing. So if that is working for someone else, that's absolutely fine. If that is working for yourself, that's absolutely fine. It's really feeling safe about that. And in my client's case, she currently works for somebody else, but she wants to go out and start her own business. And so we had to get to the core of why she wasn't feeling safe about that decision. And it turns out that she was afraid she wouldn't make enough money to support herself because she didn't value herself and see the worth in herself and didn't think other people would as well. That is something I speak to a lot of clients about. A lot of people have limiting beliefs that they have been storing for so long that are keeping them in fear. And because of that fear, they are afraid to take a chance. And that's normal because I've shared this before, but the majority of our thoughts are negative because they are here to protect us. They're constantly scanning our environment, looking for threats so that they can keep us safe. So if your nervous system feels like something is not safe, it is going to trigger that fear response. And the only way that we can actually eliminate that fear response and build that bravery or be courageous enough to take a leap of faith is to really align with our soul's blueprint. I do human design. I'm a human design mentor. And human design is really, really powerful because if you know your authority and your strategy, that tells you so much about your energetic blueprint and how you function best in your day-to-day. And so if you want to take a leap of faith and you want to break through that fear, it helps to, one, identify your human design. First of all, if you know your chart, that's going to help you tremendously. But also, it helps just to go internally and trust your intuition. Because if your intuition is strong, you don't necessarily need to know your human design, although that builds other clarity for you. You can just go internally and listen to your body, and that is going to give you your blueprint. And how that works is we all intuitively know when something feels right or wrong. When somebody asks you a question, you usually have an immediate response to that question. And if you don't, if you have to think about it, It is either your ego trying to find the perfect response, or it is your soul trying to figure out a way to respond to protect it. And what I mean by that is a lot of times, let's just use the example of somebody inviting you to do something and you don't want to go. You don't want to initially say no because you feel bad, because a lot of us are people pleasers. You want to lean into the opportunity because we are always trying to find reasons why something is a fit and why it's not. But if you really listen to your body, if that initial nudge was, no, this is not something I want to do, if you listen to that and you say no, and you protect your boundaries, that is you listening to your soul's blueprint. There is a reason why your body doesn't feel the call to go to that thing. Whatever that opportunity was, whatever that invitation was, there's a reason why your body initially said no. Well, this happens all the time. It's not just when we get invitations. It's when we date people, when we accept job offers, when we start something new. If you're an entrepreneur like myself, it's when you are building products and services. It's when you're working with a client. It's when you're out shopping and you know intuitively, yes, I want that thing. You know that feeling when you buy something and after you bought it, it's like, oh my God, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. This thing is going to change my life. Like, this was the best decision ever. No dollar amount mattered. I wanted that thing. I got it. I'm so elated. But you know, the other reaction that you sometimes have when you don't listen to your soul, when you go and you spend money on that thing and you're like, should I take it back? I don't know if I made the right investment. Was that smart? Did I really need that? And you start doubting yourself. Well, that's what we do in life. Our soul always knows the way. It has already mapped out a blueprint that's going to build the life that we dream of. But a lot of times the ego, our sweet little ego, wants to control the narrative. It wants to force a square peg into a round hole when a square peg is never going to fit into a round hole. That's why when you force things, they never flow in harmony, so they never actually work out. They're problematic, they create stress, there's no harmony. Because a square peg is not meant to fit into a round hole. You're not supposed to date somebody that has red flags. You're not supposed to buy a house that you have to find a million ways to afford. You're not supposed to take a job that is telling you, no, this doesn't feel good. We know what feels aligned with us. So if you really want to do a job, if you want to live a life purposefully, you have to go internally and listen to that voice. Trust that intuitional voice, because a lot of times there is no logical explanation how or why it's going to work out. But it's not up to us to figure that out. We're not supposed to have all of the answers. That's the beautiful part of the journey. If you knew the entire way, it wouldn't be fun. You'd already be at the destination. And we want to enjoy the human experience. This is our time to shine, to enjoy this experience that we get to create. That is a key word right there. We get to create. We have the choice every day to do what we want, but it is up to you to make that choice, to bet on yourself, to believe in number one, and know that with this internal compass, this blueprint, that is only yours because nobody has your same blueprint, it's all going to work out. But you have to trust yourself. Stop listening to the voices of all the people around you who have their own limiting beliefs. Their own limiting beliefs will keep you back. It'll keep you safe. It'll protect you. And it'll make you miserable because you'll never do the thing you want to do because you're listening to all the external noise, hoping somebody's going to be the person to validate the fear. We want to eliminate the fear. And when you regulate your nervous system and you feel calm, you really ground yourself, you anchor yourself, and you get to the core of why you're experiencing that fear, what that limiting belief is. And you rewire that belief with a new belief that is true, a new belief that you created, that I can do this thing, that I can live my dream life. I can have whatever it is I want. And you take action that feels good to your soul. That is a full body yes. It feels good. Remember when we went and bought that thing and we were dancing and having a good old time? We want that feeling internally. When you accept that next job, feel that. When you start that next product or you decide to offer a new service, feel that. Don't do it because you think it's going to make you more money or it's the right thing to do or because your parents told you that's the only way or because your friends are trying to talk you into it or because you're afraid to do something different. Don't do things for the wrong reason because you'll never be living your true soul's blueprint. And if you want to build a life by design, where you actually have your dream life, you have to design it. You have to show up and make choices that are in alignment with you all day. The difference between someone who has what they want and someone who doesn't is frequency. When you elevate that frequency and you tell your body, I trust you to lead me down this path and I know it's all going to work out, you are already telling the universe, I trust you. I'm putting my faith in you. I'm showing up with the energy I want to attract back to me. And that's when you start living in alignment. That's when you start living your life, the purposeful life that you want. That's when you start making money doing the thing that you want. Again, you can create any business and wonder why it's not working. It's not because you're not meant to be an entrepreneur. You can go work for somebody and wonder why you're miserable every single day. It's not because you work for somebody. 9 out of 10 times, it's because you're not doing what you truly love. You're not willing to take a job that pays you less doing something you love because it has a higher upswing. You're not willing to create a business doing what you love because you don't know how it's going to make you money. That's you not trusting your own soul. And in order to live the life that you want, you have to go to the authentic you, the soul blueprint, and do what feels good to you. Because when you feel good, that enthusiasm, that zest for life, that excitement is magnetic. And that attracts things to you. And that is when everything starts to work out. And the reason why people quit before really they ever get started is because they think the second they make a choice, it's all going to work out. And yes, you can collapse timelines, but that's a whole embodiment practice. Usually, we have to do the work in order to see the results. You don't work out for a day and all of a sudden shed the weight. You put in the time and you change your diet and you start to feel good about yourself. You start to walk with confidence. You start to speak kindly to yourself and you show up and you show up and you show up. And one day, 3 weeks or 3 months later, you start to see a different version of you because you committed to something and you saw it through. You didn't give up. You did the inner work, you did the embodiment, and you worked on you. If you want to create a successful life doing something that you love, you have to show up for this authentic version of you. Even when the world tells you it's not going to work out. You need to show up with that enthusiasm, that confidence. You need to be committed to that version of you every day. And over time, it's not going to happen right away, but over time, you will see change. Change is a beautiful thing when you allow it. And the funny thing is we want to rush things. We want immediate gratification. But when you really think about how long it takes to build change, which you can form a habit in 21 to 28 days. So you can change within 3 months, in 6 months, in 9 months, 12 months. So in less than 1 year, you can change your entire reality to the reality that you want. In your entire lifespan, we're talking 3 to 12 months of commitment can change your life for the better. That is not a big ask of yourself, even if there is no logical explanation. I promise you, when you start to radiate this high vibe energy and you really build that safety internally that says, I'm safe doing this, this is my new belief, this is my pattern, and I'm committing to this, you build a life that you want to live. You build a dream life. And that is how you create a life that you can be prosperous at, that you can love, that you can show up for every day with the zest for life. I really hope that you will put in the time to change this version of you and become the version of you who you want to be, the version you dream of. Build that authenticity. Know that your soul is always guiding you. Listen to these nudges. Your body is sending you signals all the time. Tune into that broadcast. I love you so much. You are wonderful and everything is possible. I will see you on the next one.